All right, folks, welcome aboard. Steve Malzberg here, and joining me now, the Borellis are back. Tom Borelli, Dr. Tom Borelli, PhD, contributor for Conservative Review, and Deneen Borelli, chief political correspondent with Conservative Review and Fox News contributor. And please check out their Conservative Review weekly podcast known as The Buzz. All right, welcome to both of you. Great to see you both.
Great to be back.
Why don't we start? I mean, the left is unhinged. And of course, they had this congressional election in Georgia, and they got beat quite easily, 5 points, 4 points. That's a pretty comfortable margin. But I want to talk about what's going on with them. We'll get to Nancy Pelosi and whether or not she's going to remain in leadership in a second. The Congressional Black Caucus, and this should be a huge story. Trump, there was a lot of talk with some members. Were they invited? Did Trump invite them? Was there a formal invitation? Oh, we never got a formal. Well, now they've been invited, and now the Congressional Black Caucus says, we're not coming.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's outrageous, and I'm glad you're talking about this, Steve. First of all, they did meet with President Trump earlier this year. They were re-invited to come back again to have a discussion, and they've declined. They just said, we're not going to do it. And it's really outrageous when you think about the neighborhoods, the communities that these representatives represent. Los Angeles, Baltimore, Chicago, my goodness, these cities are on fire. High unemployment, crime, poor schools. You would think they would come to the table for their constituents. But this is all political because they want to keep black voters angry and mad and to continue the false narrative, the lies really, that conservatives or Republicans are racist and they don't like you and blame everyone else but the failed policies that are happening in these communities. And it's all their fault.
And Tom, the fact of the matter is when Donald Trump talked about these communities during the campaign, I mean, he spoke sympathetically. He said something has to change when it comes to education. Kids should be able to walk down the streets and not fear for their lives. Crime was out of control. And the media and many members of the black community took offense to that. I don't get that.
Well, as Deneen said, it's all about politics, and the Democrats are desperate. The last thing they need is the loyal black vote to abandon the Democratic Party. And what they do know is if Trump got into the inner cities, lowered taxes, created jobs, he has the program with the trades to get people who don't go to college to become plumbers, electricians, vocational.
Yeah.
That would just boost employment in the urban city, but it would decimate the core voter. So this is all politics, and I hope that people really wake up to why this is happening. Because within the black community, there's always that echo chamber.
Yeah.
The black media always repeats a number of lies. Deneen's talking about this before. So this is one of the issues. We need to break that barrier. It's not about the people, it's about politics.
Yeah, Deneen, because a lot of people were saying, and I know you were one of them, that during the campaign, that if Donald Trump, and when he took office, if Donald Trump succeeded in delivering what he promised for the minority communities, the inner cities, there would go the Democratic Party, right? I mean, they're destroying themselves, but there would go that guaranteed vote, 90% or more, right out the window.
No, you're right. And the results would be better schools, better neighborhoods, less crime.
The horror.
And again, you would think they would be on board for that. But again, it is political, and they're going to lose that voting block when these policies are positive and effective, and they'll have to find another job.
They can't do that.
No, that would be impossible. Speaking of finding another job, I mean, Nancy Pelosi could probably keep that seat forever. I'm not sure she knows who the president is. She's many times said she wants to work with George W. Bush. But there's been a lot of talk. There have been Democrats who have gone on the record saying, in the wake of the Georgia election, saying, we need new leadership. Nancy Pelosi's not the one. We have to change leadership. It has to start now. Pelosi poo-pooed that today. Do you think? I mean, why wouldn't? Look how many seats they lost, yes, since Obama took office, but with Nancy Pelosi at the helm, 1,000 seats across the nation. Yeah. They can't win one of these elections, as unpopular as they say Donald Trump is. You would think that the leadership would go.
I hope they keep doing what they're doing because you mentioned it. How many seats have they lost with former President Obama and to present day? They have a marketing problem. Democrats, they have a brand problem. Their message is resist Trump, impeach Trump, investigate Trump. They're not talking about jobs and the economy, which is what the election was about. And so middle America, they don't want to hear this nonsense and this rhetoric. How am I going to feed my kids and keep my family safe? That's what they want to hear.
No, and that's obvious by the results. But when and who, stands up and says, I'm challenging Nancy Pelosi, and really gets vocal and really starts making the rounds and saying we need change.
It really highlights a problem within politics. It's all about power. And someone like Nancy Pelosi has power. She has a lot of donors, a lot of funders. They happen to be from the left-wing world, which is the real problem the Democrats have. But it's really hard to shake these people once they're really entrenched. Democrats are really they stick with themselves amazingly. Republicans are more diverse.
Yeah.
I mean, Boehner's gone.
Yeah.
Pelosi's still there. What does that tell you?
That's absolutely true. So, I mean, who do you think, or if not a specific name, then what kind of new leadership does the Democratic Party need? Or maybe a name. And do you have anybody who would be a good face? I mean, Nancy Pelosi has been there a long time. And, if she was a white male, they'd say she's a white male. So I'll say she's a white woman. Does that enter into it at all?
Yeah, well, here's the face of the current party: Pelosi, Maxine Waters, Tom Price or Tim Price, the head of the DNC.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
He's even far
the former
left
Labor
than-
Secretary under Obama.
Right.
Who
Bernie
can't stop saying the
Sanders.
bad words. Yeah.
Right.
They want Sanders actually to head a new party for Democrats, the People's
good.
Party.
Yeah, we
All
like
right?
that.
So he's got a lot of momentum, a lot of supporters. Who knows if they may, echelon him up the scale. But I hope they just keep doing what they're doing.
Keep doing what they're doing. No, I'm with you on that. I want you to hear Donald Trump. I love his pep rallies, and he just went on, and that. He had one yesterday. They called it a victory lap after the election in a negative sense. The networks, the left-wing networks. But he talked about Congressman Scalise, who, thank God, is doing better. I think Paul Ryan today said he spoke with him. Anyway, listen to what the reaction of a couple of protesters in the crowd was.
I'd like to also take this moment to send our thoughts and prayers to our courageous friend, somebody that I've gotten to know very well, Steve Scalise, and everyone recovering from the assault. Never fails. Never fails.
And the protesters blowing whistles right after they mentioned Scalise. We saw what Joy Reid had to say on MSNBC about Scalise as he laid in the hospital, still is in the hospital, that he voted this way against gay marriage, blah, 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 as if he deserves it. And you guys did a Buzz podcast for Conservative Review, which everybody should check out, about the hate in the aftermath of the shooting, and it continues.
No, it's outrageous. It's actually sickening to the point to see and hear what these individuals are saying on a regular basis. It's vile, it's vulgar, it's vicious, and they have doubled down, especially since they keep losing all of these seats across the country. It started with Hollywood, Kathy Griffin, and the play right here locally in New York City.
Shakespeare in a Park.
They are unhinged, just like you said, and they've gotten worse.
Yeah, and you would think that they would stop it. I mean, you would think that they would figure that it's alienating to independents, to people that they need to reach,
That's
to
the
middle
real point.
America. I mean,
Right.
who do they think they're appealing to? The 10% falling off the left cliff?
Right. Well, the Democrat leaders have really been funding the extreme left, and this is what you're getting. And it is a brand and marketing problem. It's horrible for the Democrat Party. In fact, there was a Pew Research poll out this week that said more Americans think Democrats are extreme. It went from something like 37% to 45% in about a year.
Wow.
Democrats being extreme. Now, remember what they said about the Tea Party.
Yeah.
Right? What a compare and contrast.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're Tea Party people who went out and spoke at a number of rallies. We were promoting things. We didn't go out to harass. What a contrast. But of course, the media was against us, but they're for them.
And so, Deneen, let me just ask you, do you see an end in sight? I mean, Dianne Feinstein just recently defended the Berkeley situation and keeping conservative speakers. She cited some group that tracks terrorism and hate speech and used that as an excuse to legitimize the keeping of conservative speakers off of college campus.
Right. Well, what Democrats have done and these leaders in the Democrat Party, they have created a mob. And if they come out against what the mob is doing and saying, the mob is going to turn on them. We are Walking Dead fans. We know what the mob can do.
Yes.
So they're not
Just
going
light a fire, they'll come.
It's not going to end.
Yeah, well, it's sad and it's
is.
unfortunate, but you know, as long as there's no violence, let them keep destroying themselves. I think we'll all
Right.
agree. As you said, let them keep doing what they're doing because they're disintegrating. They really are. And Hillary was put in her place. Basically, so many people said, "Stop it." She's really disappeared for a while.
For
That's
now.
right, I hadn't realized that.
Yeah,
Where is Hillary?
Yeah.
Right, right.
Remember that name, though, folks. Hillary. Hillary. I know it's tough to remember. Thank you both, Deneen and Tom
thank you.
Borelli, and check out the Conservative Review weekly podcast, The Buzz. Until next time, folks, Steve Malzberg, thanks for being out there. Check out newsmaxtv.com and, of course, the website newsmax.com.